A fierce sandstorm sweeps across the desolate ruins of ancient Alexandria. Lightning flashes, briefly illuminating an old archaeologist, Dr. Elias Monroe, in his 60s, clutching a leather-bound journal as he struggles through the wind. His assistant, Layla Hassan, a sharp and courageous Egyptian historian in her early 30s, shouts over the storm. Layla, shouting, "Dr. Monroe, we need to take cover. The storm is getting worse." Dr. Monroe, eyes fixed ahead. "No, Layla, we're close. I can feel it. This is where the old records at Alexander's temple once stood." Lightning strikes again, revealing the outline of a crumbling stone arch half buried in the sand. Strange symbols are etched into the ancient surface. Layla, eyes widening. "By the gods, that's Greek and Egyptian, Ptolemaic era." Dr. Monroe, exactly. The perfect blend, the era when Alexander was honored as a god. He brushes the dust away from the carvings. Beneath them lies a faint engraving of a lion and a star, the legendary symbol of Alexander's dynasty. Dr. Monroe, reading softly. The lion sleeps beneath the city of light. He flips open his journal, filled with sketches and old translations. His hands tremble. Layla, what does it mean? Dr. Monroe, it means the tomb wasn't destroyed. It was hidden under Alexandria itself. Suddenly, a distant rumble echoes beneath their feet. The ground shakes. A sinkhole opens right beside them. Layla grabs Monroe's arm, pulling him back just as the earth collapses. Layla, yelling, "We have to go. Now!" They stumble toward their jeep. As the storm rages, Monroe looks back one last time at the ruins, his eyes burning with obsession. Dr. Monroe, to himself, "I've found it after all these years. I found the key." Cut to Int. University of Cairo, 1 week later. Layla presents Monroe's journal to a packed lecture hall. Monroe's chair remains empty. Layla, with emotion, "Dr. Elias Monroe vanished during our expedition. But his last words, and this map, may lead us to one of history's greatest discoveries, the lost tomb of Alexander the Great." The crowd murmurs. A hand raises from the back. Daniel Ward, a young American documentary filmmaker known for uncovering historical mysteries. "Daniel, if what you're saying is true, this could rewrite history. I want in." Layla hesitates, then nods. Layla, "Then pack your cameras, Mr. Ward. We're going to Alexandria." Montage. Airplanes soaring over the Mediterranean. Shots of modern Alexandria. Traffic, markets, ancient ruins among skyscrapers. A hidden hand watching them from a cafe, a mysterious man in a black coat. Narrator, VO. For centuries, legend spoke of Alexander's body being made immortal. Some said it was stolen, others that it sleeps beneath the streets of Alexandria, guarded by those sworn to protect its secret. But now, for the first time in over 2,000 years, the search begins again. The bustling streets of Alexandria shimmer under the golden sun. Layla and Daniel weave through traffic in a small van filled with excavation tools and camera equipment. Daniel, looking out the window, hard to believe Alexander himself once walked these streets. Layla, smiling faintly. What's harder to believe is that the city still hides his tomb, right under all this chaos. Daniel adjusts his camera, filming the passing streets. Daniel, the city of light and legend, the perfect place to lose a god. They arrive at the Museum of Antiquities, where Layla's mentor, Professor Rashid Al-Hamidi, an expert in Ptolemaic history, waits for them. Int. Museum of Antiquities. Day. Ancient relics around them, golden amulets, marble busts, and fading papyrus scrolls. Professor Rashid, tall and dignified, studies Monroe's journal carefully. Prof. Rashid. The symbols he found are part of the royal seal of Alexandria. Few people even know of its existence. Layla, he believed the tomb was built over the ancient Serapeum, the temple of the god Serapis. Prof. Rashid nods slowly. That temple was destroyed in the 4th century, but beneath it there were catacombs. Some say they were sealed forever after the fall of the Library of Alexandria. Daniel's camera zooms in on the professor's hands, tracing the faded map in Monroe's notes. Daniel, so you're saying the tomb could still be down there? Prof. Rashid, if Monroe was right, it's not just down there, it's protected. The Ptolemies were masters of illusion. They had their greatest treasures behind traps, curses, and history itself. A low thunder rumbles outside, though the sky is clear. The professor looks uneasy. Prof. Rashid, there are things better left buried, my friends. Alexander was more than a man. He was a symbol. Disturbing his rest could awaken forces you do not understand. Layla glances at Daniel, her determination unwavering. Layla, then we'll tread carefully, Professor. But we can't stop now. Elias Monroe gave his life for this. The professor sighs, then reluctantly hands her a small bronze amulet shaped like a lion holding a sun. Prof. Rashid, you'll need this. It's said to open the gate of kings. But remember, once opened, it cannot easily be closed. Cut to Extension, Old District of Alexandria, night. The city quiets under the stars. Layla and Daniel arrive at a restricted construction site, an excavation zone near the ruins of the Serapeum. They sneak past the guards with help from Omar, a young local archaeologist loyal to Layla. Omar, whispering, this area has been sealed for decades. But there's something strange here. The ground scanners show empty chambers. Deep below. Layla, let's see what the modern city's been hiding. They descend through a narrow maintenance tunnel. The sound of dripping water echoes as their flashlights cut through the darkness. In underground tunnels, night. They reach a massive stone door engraved with Greek inscriptions. In the center, a lion symbol matching the amulet. Layla fits the amulet into the carving. The walls tremble. Dust rains down. A hidden mechanism rumbles to life. The door slides open, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. Daniel, camera recording. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where history meets legend. Layla, quietly, and where the living meet the dead. They begin their descent, each step echoing centuries of silence. Lower catacombs, continuous. The air is thick, ancient. Strange murals line the walls, depictions of Alexander crowned by Egyptian gods. Statues watch them with lifeless eyes. Daniel pans his camera and freezes. Daniel, wait, did you see that? In the corner, faint torchlight flickers, and a shadow moves. Someone else is down there. Layla whispers sharply. Layla, we're not alone. A metallic clang echoes through the chamber. Omar grips his flashlight like a weapon. A figure steps out of the shadows, a tall man dressed in black with piercing eyes. The same man who watched them earlier in the cafe. Mysterious man. Softly, you shouldn't have come here. Layla, who are you? Mysterious man. A guardian of what you seek, and a witness to those who die trying to find it. Before they can react, he vanishes into the tunnels, leaving behind a single object. A coin bearing Alexander's face, gleaming in the dust. Daniel, quietly. What was that? Layla picks up the coin, eyes narrowing. Layla, a warning or an invitation. The flicker of flashlight beams dances along cracked walls carved with strange symbols. Layla, Daniel, and Omar move cautiously through a narrow passage, their footsteps echoing like whispers of the dead. The air grows colder the further they go. Omar, shivering. It feels wrong down here, like the walls are watching us. Layla, that's because they are, points to the carvings. Eyes of Horus, protection symbols. Whoever built this didn't want intruders. Daniel, or they wanted to trap them. A low rumble trembles beneath their feet. Dust falls from the ceiling. Daniel's camera shakes as he steadies it. Daniel, to camera. Day 1, subterranean level. Temperature dropping. No natural airflow. If these tunnels are part of Alexander's lost necropolis, then we're standing in 2,000 years of untouched history. They reach an open chamber. At the center, a stone altar with 2 serpent statues coiled around a bronze bowl filled with dry ashes. Layla kneels beside it, running her hand over the hieroglyphs. Layla, reading softly. Only those pure of heart may cross the path of the divine king. Pauses. It's a ritual offering site, but look, the burn marks are recent. Omar frowns. Omar, someone's been here not long ago. Suddenly, a faint whispering fills the chamber. Indistinct voices in Greek and Egyptian overlap, echoing through the tunnels. Daniel, turning in circles. You hear that? Layla, yes, But it's not possible. There's no one else down here. The whispering grows louder until a gust of wind snuffs out their flashlights. Darkness swallows them whole. Omar, panicking. Layla, Daniel, I can't see. A click, Daniel's camera light flicks on. The beam lands on the serpent statue. Its eyes are glowing red. Layla, that's not possible. Before she finishes, the floor beneath them shifts. Run. The ground collapses. They fall into a hidden pit below, tumbling into darkness. Lower chamber, continuous. They land hard, coughing amid a cloud of dust. Omar groans, holding his shoulder. Omar, disoriented. I think my arm's broken. Daniel, you're lucky that's all. Look around. What is this place? Layla raises her light, revealing massive stone doors covered in Greek text and gold inlay. Across the top, a phrase glimmers. Here lies the king who became a god. Layla, it's him. Alexander. Daniel exhales, awestruck. Daniel, we actually found it. Before they can celebrate, Omar spots something on the wall, a fresco depicting soldiers bound before a golden coffin. But beside them, shadowy figures, hooded and faceless, raise sword against intruders. Omar, look at this, it's a warning. Layla, the guardians of the tomb. The same phrase from Monroe's journal flashes in her mind. Dr. Monroe wrote about them, an ancient order sworn to protect Alexander's body from desecration. Daniel, so that guy we saw earlier, Layla, was one of them. A sudden metallic clang echoes in the distance. The sound of chains. Footsteps. Someone is approaching. Daniel, low voice. We need to hide. Now. They crouch behind a collapsed pillar as torchlight flickers in the corridor. The mysterious man in black enters, accompanied by two others cloaked in dark robes. They carry weapons carved with Greek sigils. Mysterious man. To his followers, in Greek, they are close. The woman bears a key. If she awakens a gate, the curse will rise again. He kneels before the golden doors, whispering a prayer. As his torchlight glows, faint outlines of bones appear beneath the floor's glass surface. Hundreds of them. Daniel, whispering, "Oh my God, those are human remains." Layla, the last ones who tried to open the tomb. The man stands, turning toward the shadows, as if sensing them. Mysterious man. In English, the tomb is not yours to find. Leave this place before the sands claim your souls. He extinguishes his torch, plunging everything back into darkness. Moments later, silence. The men vanish. Daniel exhales shakily. Daniel, who are these people? Layla, the descendants of the original gods. They believe Alexander's body was blessed by the gods and curse it to destroy anyone who seeks it. Omar wipes blood from his forehead, trembling. Omar, Layla, maybe they are right. Maybe we shouldn't. Before he can finish, a deep mechanical grind echoes from the wall. The amulet on Layla's neck begins to glow faintly. Layla, the amulet, it's reacting to something. She approaches a golden door, pressing the lion amulet against the carved emblem. It fits perfectly. The door vibrates, ancient gears turning for the first time in millennia. A blinding golden light floods the chamber. A gust of hot air bursts through, carrying the faint scent of incense and decay. Daniel, camera recording, awestruck. It's opening. It's actually opening. Layla, whispering. Alexander, forgive us. The door creaks open a few inches, revealing a dark corridor beyond, lined with gold panels and royal insignias. But before they can step closer, the floor trembles violently. Hieroglyphs on the walls begin to glow, one by one. Omar, screaming. You triggered a trap. Massive stone blocks fall from the ceiling, separating them. Layla, shouting. Daniel, Omar, run. Dust fills the chamber. The camera falls to the ground, still recording. Through the static and chaos, Daniel's voice echoes faintly. Daniel, VO. Layla, we'll find another way. Then silence. Silence. Dust floats in the air like ghostly smoke. Layla lies half buried under debris, coughing as she pushes stones away. Her flashlight flickers weakly. She calls out, voice echoing. Layla, Daniel, Omar, can you hear me? No answer, only the distant drip of water. She looks up. The golden door is now slightly ajar, light seeping through its edges like fire. The amulet on her neck pulses faintly, synchronizing with her heartbeat. She steadies herself, takes a deep breath, and approaches the door. Layla, to herself, you wanted the truth. Elias, now let's see what it cost you. In a tunnel, continuous. Layla steps into a narrow, torchlit corridor. The air is heavy with incense and burnt oil, as though someone had lit the fires only hours ago. The walls are painted with murals of Alexander's conquests, Babylon, Persia, India, but as she walks, the scenes darken. Alexander's armies burning cities, enslaving people, and finally, Alexander kneeling before a godlike figure with a serpent's head. Layla, whispering. This isn't in any history book. She records it on Daniel's drop camera, which he found near the entrance. A deep voice suddenly echoes through the corridor. Voice, OS. History only remembers what the conquerors allow. Layla spins around. The mysterious man in black stands behind her, torch in hand, face half-lit. Now we see him clearly. Nicandros, mid-40s, his eyes sharp and ancient. Layla, who are you really? Nicandros, a descendant of the priests who buried him. My family has kept his secret for 20 generations. Layla, then why threaten us? We're only searching for the truth. Nicandros, the truth, Dr. Hassan, is what destroyed Alexander himself. He sought immortality, and he found it, but not as he imagined. He steps closer, pointing his torch at the murals, specifically one depicting Alexander drinking from a golden chalice. Nicandros, he was poisoned by his own ambition. His priest preserved his body using forbidden rites, merging man and God. What lies ahead is not a tomb. It's a prison. Layla studies him, half in disbelief, half in awe. Layla, you expect me to believe Alexander the Great became cursed? Nicandros, you don't have to believe it. You only have to see what happens to those who disturb him. Suddenly, a low rumble shakes the floor. Flames ignite along the walls, forming a fiery path down the corridor. Nicandros turns solemnly. Nicandros, the path of fire has awoken. Once lit, it does not stop until it consumes the unworthy. He throws his torch aside and disappears into the shadows. Layla, wait! Come back! She's alone again, and the flames begin advancing rapidly toward her. Path of fire corridor, continuous. Layla sprints through the burning passage, dodging collapsing tiles. Flames erupt from vents in the floor like dragon's breath. She spots strange symbols carved into the wall, a puzzle sequence. Each section has an inscription in Greek: wisdom, courage, honor, divinity. Layla, remembering Monroe's notes. The king's path is walked by deeds, not by birthright. She touches the symbols in order: wisdom, courage, honor, and skips divinity. The flames stop instantly. The chamber cools. Layla, breathless, relieved. Still mortal after all, Alexander. The floor splits open, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. She looks up once more. The ceiling mural above shows Alexander ascending to the stars, his eyes glowing gold. Layla, softly, you wanted to be a god, and maybe you became one. Subterranean shrine, moments later. The staircase leads into a vast, golden hall illuminated by torches that seem to burn eternally. Giant statues of Greek and Egyptian gods surround a central sarcophagus, carved of crystal and gold, enshrined on a marble platform. Layla steps forward, trembling. Layla, Alexander. She kneels beside the sarcophagus and sees that the lid has already been opened slightly. Her reflection shimmers in the glass surface, but the body inside is unnervingly intact. Skin pale, hair golden, armor gleaming like new. It looks as if it's merely sleeping. She reaches out, fingertips brushing the lid, and suddenly, a flash of light. Visions flood her mind. Alexander's armies kneeling before him as lightning strikes. Priests chanting over his dying body. Flames consuming the library of Alexandria as monks flee with scrolls. Dr. Elias Monroe screaming as shadows drag him into darkness. She gasps, falling backward. Layla, whispering, terrified, is alive or something worse. She hears movement and turns. Daniel and Omar appear through a broken side passage, covered in dust and blood. Daniel, Layla, we thought you were. He stops mid-sentence, seeing the glowing sarcophagus. Daniel, my God, you did it. Omar, but where's the guardian? Before Layla can answer, the torches flicker violently, then go out one by one. A cold voice echoes through the chamber. Alexander, V.O., you seek the king who never died. Now face the price of your desire. The sarcophagus lid slides open on its own. The trio stays in horror as Alexander's eyes, bright gold, snap open. The chamber is silent, until a single breath echoes, deep, heavy, ancient. Layla, Daniel, and Omar stand frozen as the golden eyes of Alexander the Great flicker open inside the crystal sarcophagus. The torches reignite by themselves, casting eerie, moving shadows across the walls. Daniel, whispering, tell me that's not happening. Layla, staring in awe and terror. His alive? A faint smile crosses Alexander's face. His lips part slightly, and his voice, resonant and echoing, fills the chamber. Alexander, soft, commanding. Who dares disturb the rest of the son of Zeus? The air vibrates with his words. Dust trembles off the floor. Layla steps forward, trembling but defiant. Layla, quietly. We came to find you, to uncover the truth. Alexander's gaze shifts to her. He studies her like a lion sizing up prey. Alexander, the truth? The truth is written in blood and carved in stone. Mortals have forgotten what I became, what I sacrificed. He rises, slowly, impossibly, as if gravity itself obeys him. His golden armor glints beneath the torchlight. The once great conqueror stands before them, a vision of power and decay. Omar, stumbling back. This can't be real. Alexander, real, booming. You came seeking a corpse and found a god. Lightning flashes across the walls, not from the sky, but from the sarcophagus itself. Daniel's camera sparks violently before shutting off. Daniel, snarling in fear. Layla, we have to get out of here. Layla, no, wait. Pleading. Alexander, listen. The world has changed. Empires have fallen. Humanity has forgotten your name. We only want to understand your legacy. Alexander tilts his head, amused, then furious. Alexander, forgotten? My name built empires. My sword carved the world. And yet, mortals reduce me to dust and myth. Snarls. No, I will remind them who their true king is. He raises his hand. The air around him distorts. The statues of gods lining the chamber crack and shift, their stone eyes glowing. The walls begin to close in, as if the tomb itself were alive. Omar, shouting. Layla, the ceiling. Layla, run, now. They sprint toward the passage they came from, but the golden doors slam shut before they reach them. Daniel, we're trapped. A voice echoes from the shadows. Nicandros, the guardian, emerging with his torch. Nicandros, shouting, get back. He is not Alexander anymore. He is what the priest created, a soul bound between worlds. He hurls a small vial at the ground. It bursts into flames, forming a barrier between the humans and the resurrected king. Alexander, to Nicandros, your blood remembers me. You are the last of my keepers. Nicandros, and my duty is to keep you buried. Alexander's laughter echoes like thunder. With a flick of his hand, he sends a wave of invisible force that throws Nicandros across the chamber. Layla, Nicandros. She runs to him. His bleeding but alive. He grabs her wrist, desperate. Nicandros, listening to ancient whispers. You must seal the tomb with the amulet. It's the only way to stop him, before he breaks free completely. Layla, but how? Nicandros, place it in the lion's eye, the mark of his dynasty. It will bind his spirit again. Alexander steps forward, his voice now echoing inside their minds. Alexander, you cannot imprison a god twice, child. You cannot bury glory. He raises his sword, now glowing with supernatural fire. The flames illuminate murals that seem to move, armies marching, cities burning, endless war. Daniel, terrified, to Layla, is feeding off it, the energy, The fire, the gold, all of it. Layla, to herself. No, he's feeding off power. He's still the same man who wanted the world. She spots the lion emblem carved into the floor, the same mark as the amulet. She sprints toward it. Alexander, yelling, "You dare defy me!" He slashes his sword. The blade strikes the ground, sending a shockwave that splits the chamber floor. Omar barely grabs onto the ledge, dangling over a pit of molten gold below. Omar, screaming, "Layla, help!" Daniel rushes to pull him up, while Layla forces herself forward through the trembling floor. She kneels at the lion's eye, pressing the amulet into its socket. Nothing happens at first. Alexander roars, his voice shaking the entire tomb. "Alexander, I am eternity itself." Layla, shouting back, "Then you'll rest for eternity." She twists the amulet. The ground explodes in light, blinding, golden, burning. Alexander screams, his body dissolving into dust and fire, pulled back toward the sarcophagus. The statues crumble, the walls shake violently. "Daniel, it's collapsing. Move." Layla grabs the amulet as the chamber begins to fall apart. She looks back one last time. Alexander's fading eyes meet his. "Alexander," softly, fading, "even gods envy the living." Then is gone. The team runs toward a narrow tunnel as the tomb collapses behind them. Stone crashes, fire consumes the whole, and Alexander's voice echoes, distant but unbroken. "Alexander, VO, you can bury a man, but never his ambition." A blood-red sunrise stretches over the horizon. The ruins of the old Serapeum lie in silence, broken pillars and half-buried stones whispering of what transpired below. From a collapsed shaft, Layla, Daniel, and Omar crawl out of the earth, bruised, coughing, and covered in dust. They collapse in exhaustion. Daniel, "Horse, we made it." Omar, panting, "Did we?" "Because I can still feel the ground shaking." Layla sits up slowly, clutching the amulet in her palm. It's cracked down the middle, glowing faintly before dimming out completely. Layla, "He's sealed again. At least, I think he is." Daniel looks around at the sunrise, the city skyline in the distance, shimmering with heat waves. Daniel, "The whole site's gone. No evidence, no tomb, nothing. It's like it swallowed itself back into the earth." Layla turns to him, eyes still haunted. "Layla, maybe that's how it was meant to be. Some truths aren't supposed to survive history." A long pause. The desert wind whistles softly, almost like a whispering voice, ancient and fading. Int. Museum of Antiquities. Days later. Layla stands alone before an exhibit of Greek relics. The museum is quiet, the city bustling faintly outside. She places Monroe's journal on a marble pedestal beside a bust of Alexander. Her reflection appears in the glass, tired but resolute. Layla, softly, to herself, "You found it, Elias. And you were right. He never really died." Professor Rashid enters quietly, his cane tapping the floor. "Prof. Rashid, I saw the site this morning. Completely buried, like the sands themselves decided to keep the secret." Layla, looking at him, "Do you believe in curses, Professor?" Prof. Rashid chuckles sadly. "I believe in consequences. When men reach too far into the past reaches back." He places a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Prof. Rashid, you've done enough. Layla, let the dead keep their silence." He walks away slowly. Layla looks down. The amulet on the table flickers faintly, then stops. Int. Daniel's editing room. Night. Daniel sits alone, replaying the surviving footage from his damaged camera. The screen flickers with static, distorted images of the catacombs, the path of fire, and finally, Alexander's glowing eyes. He freezes a frame on Alexander's face. Daniel, whispering. He wanted to be remembered. Well, now the whole world will. He begins transferring the footage onto his computer, unaware that the monitor flickers strangely. For a split second, the reflection of Alexander's golden eyes appears in the black screen. Extension, Alexandria coastline. Night. Layla stands by the sea, wind blowing through her hair. The waves crash against the rocks, carrying whispers from the deep, almost like chanting. She closes her eyes and drops the broken amulet into the water. Layla, rest now, King of Kings. The amulet sinks, vanishing beneath the dark waves. But as it disappears, a faint golden glow spreads beneath the surface, pulsing like a heartbeat. Unknown location, same night, a dimly lit chamber, somewhere far from the city. Nicandros, bandaged but alive, kneels before an ancient altar covered in scrolls and relics. A candle flickers as he mutters an ancient prayer. Behind him, a fellow guardian enters quietly. Guardian, it is done. Then, Nicandros, somberly, yes, the tomb has returned to the sand. But the seal, it cracked. The guardian looks alarmed. Guardian, then the curse still breathes? Nicandros stays into the candle flame. Nicandros, the king's spirit cannot die. It waits for another to call his name. He blows out the candle. Fade to black. Super, 3 months later. Private archive room, London, night. Daniel sits in a high-tech studio, watching the restored documentary version of his footage. On screen, the catacombs, the murals, Layla's voice narrating softly about Alexander's life. He leans back, proud, until the footage glitches. The screen flashes gold. Alexander's face fills a frame for a single frame, whispering something inaudible. Daniel freezes. Daniel, confused. What the hell was that? The lights flicker. His reflection in the monitor isn't his own. It's Alexander's, smiling faintly. Alexander, VO. You cannot bury glory. Daniel's expression hardens, almost trance-like. He slowly reaches for the amulet shard hanging around his neck. A red carpet glows under bright lights. Cameras flash. Posters of the lost tomb of Alexander the Great line the entrance. The crowd murmurs with excitement. Historians, journalists, celebrities. Daniel Carter, looking sharp in a dark suit, walks in confidently. His eyes, however, seem colder, almost too calm. Behind him, Layla arrives, wearing a simple black dress, hesitant but proud. They meet near the entrance. Layla, I can't believe we're actually showing this. It feels wrong, like we're disturbing something again. Daniel, smirking faintly. History doesn't belong to the dead. Layla, it belongs to those brave enough to tell it. She studies him, sensing something off, a glint in his eyes, almost golden. Layla, Daniel, are you all right? He smiles. Daniel, never been better. Theater, moments later. The lights dim. The large screen flickers to life, showing breathtaking footage from their expedition. The descent into the tunnels, the murals, the crypts, the final collapse. The audience is spellbound. But midway through the film, something changes. The footage glitches, frames flicker, sound distorts. A shadowed figure appears, one that wasn't part of the original cut. Alexander the Great, standing proud, eyes burning gold. Audience member. Confused whisper. Is this part of the film? Layla leans forward, terrified. Layla, whispering. No, that's not our footage. On screen, Alexander turns and looks directly at the camera. Alexander, VO. I am not dead. I am Empire Eternal. The projector flickers violently. Lights burst. People scream. Control room. Same time. Technicians scramble as the monitors surge with energy. The footage begins looping itself, rewriting its data. The system shows a single phrase flashing. The king shall rise where the city sleeps. The equipment overheats, sparks flying. One technician collapses, whispering. It's speaking. Theater, chaos. Smoke fills the air. People rush toward the exits. Layla fights through the crowd toward Daniel, who stand frozen, eyes glowing faintly gold. Layla, shouting. Daniel, snap out of it. He turns slowly toward her, his voice layered, his and Alexander's combined. Daniel Alexander, you freed me from the sands. Layla, now I will rise again through the world that forgot my name. Layla grabs his shoulders, tears streaming. Layla, you're not him. Fight it, Daniel. You're stronger than this. His expression flickers, pain, confusion, before he collapses, unconscious. The screen behind them explodes in a flash of golden light, projecting Alexander's massive silhouette over the crowd. Then, silence. Everything goes black. Int. Hospital room. Days later. Daniel lies in a hospital bed, unconscious but alive. Layla sits beside him, reading softly from a journal. Monroe's, now tattered and stained. Layla, reading. Greatness is not in conquest, but in what is left behind when we fall. She closes it gently, looking at Daniel's motionless hand. On his wrist, faint golden marks shimmer, like ancient symbols. Nurse, OS. He hasn't woken up since the incident. Layla, no. But sometimes I think he's dreaming. She looks at the heart monitor, its rhythm steady, but every few beats, a faint second pulse echoes through the speakers, like another heartbeat beneath his own. Extension Alexandria, night. The sea roars under the moonlight. Waves crash against the ruins near where Layla dropped the amulet. For a moment, the waters part slightly, and deep beneath, a golden chamber glimmers faintly in the dark. A figure, motionless, sits upon a stone throne. The same amulet Layla dropped now rests on his chest, fully restored, glowing brighter with each passing second. Alexander, VO. Empires fall, but kings never die. The screen fades as a faint outline of Alexander's eyes open underwater. Super. Some legends are not meant to be found.